Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chinese Sayings Podcast. Laszlo Montgomery here with another beaut. And like all Chongyu introduced during this second season of the CSP, this saying has something or other to do with music. And making an encore appearance in our musical Chongyu for this time is the king of Qi, Qi Xuanwang. He reigned 319 to 301 BCE. Yeah, I know, Warring States period again. Qi was located where Shandong province is today, with the capital at Linzi, or present-day Zibo. I've been there, but I didn't know it was the capital of Qi when I was there. You all no doubt remember this king as the one who counted no less a philosopher than Mengzi himself as a personal advisor. Back in Season 1, Episode 4, we looked at Yuanmu Qiuyu, to climb a tree to catch a fish. Some of you who are good with names will recall King Xuan of Qi from that episode. Well, he's back. And we could all thank Han Fei for bringing us this particular Chinese saying. His eponymous book serves as one of the bedrocks of legalist philosophy that had a big impact on Qin Shi Huang and his whole Qin administration. And in the section called Nei Chu Shuo Shang, Master Han Fei gives us today's useful Chongyu, Lanyu Chongsu. Let's pick it apart. The first character, Lan, means to overflow, excessive, and in this Chongyu, it means indiscriminate. A yu is a kind of ancient Chinese woodwind instrument with multiple bamboo pipes all attached together. Chong means sufficient, full, and also to pretend or pose as something you ain't, like Chong Nei Hang, to pretend to be an expert. And the fourth character is Shu, which means number or amount. This one for sure doesn't give it away. Indiscriminate, yu, pretend, number. Yeah, forget it. Unless you already know what this means, you can't figure it out. You have to know the story behind it, or have already read about it in the Han Fei Zi. So King Shen, aside from being a troublemaker who enjoyed warring on his neighbors, was a great lover of music. He particularly loved the yu. Now, I didn't mention this before, but this ancient instrument was often played in an ensemble consisting of many, many other yu players. King Shen's royal ensemble, no kidding, had something like 300 yu players. That was more than the Temple City Kazoo Orchestra at its peak. And let me tell you, these yu musicians got paid well, and whenever King Shen called for them, they got to enjoy a nice meal at the palace also. So it was a nice, steady, well-paying gig with perks. The dream of many a musician and artist, not just today, back then too. There was also this lovable loser named Mr. Nan Guo. Yeah, one of those Fu Xing, or two-character surnames. Not rare, but you don't meet him every day. There were two things Mr. Nan Guo enjoyed doing: bumming a free meal off someone and loafing on the job. Somehow, he got wind of the deal these musicians had playing the yu for King Shen. He actually had this old yu at his house that had been handed down for generations, so he went and got it. He was just a low-level guy at the palace. In Hong Kong, he's like a asok kind of a worker, like a handyman. And somehow, he was able to talk to someone at the palace, and the musical director interviewed him and advocated on his behalf to King Shen. And the king, of course, said, yeah, the more the merrier. So Mr. Nan Guo, before you know it, sat with all the other 300 yu musicians, and for several years played in the orchestra. The only thing was that Mr. Nan Guo had no idea how to play the yu. He'd just go through the motions and sway with the other musicians and, pretend like he was blowing his instrument and, totally getting into it. He was one player amidst an ensemble of 300. No one could tell that he was just faking it, just going through the motions. 300 musicians all playing the yu. If one doesn't have any sound coming out of it, who's going to know? Well, this nice, easy gig came to an ignoble end for Mr. Nan Guo. One day, his luck ran out, and King Shen died. His son became the new king of Qi, and this was the infamous King Min, Qi Min Wang, a king so bad he brought down the whole state of Qi, but that's another story. He liked music, too, and when his ministers arranged a little impromptu performance for the new king, all 300 players of this all-you orchestra started playing. And King Min shook his head and said, I don't like it this way at all. I much prefer soloists. So Mr. Nan Guo's heart started pounding, and he knew this gravy train was leaving the station, and he had to get off. So as the king selected members of the orchestra to each perform a solo, Mr. Nan Guo slipped out the back and, well, got out of the music industry for good. So this Mr. Nan Guo, he was a Lanyu, a Yu player indiscriminately chosen to Chong Shu, to make up the necessary number required. So anyone who obviously has no talent but joins the team and poses as a somebody of talent, they're a Lanyu Chong Shu. You'd say this in a mocking, derisive kind of a way when you say someone is pulling a Lanyu Chong Shu. They're someone with little or no talent, but they're trying to make it look like they're quite the expert. This can be anything, not just musicians, people in the office, your general manager, workmen who come to fix your appliances or your car, your lawyer, your financial advisor, anyone who isn't half as good as they make themselves out to be. Lanyu Chongshu. And another thing, this Chengyu has another use. Let's say you are an expert. You play an instrument like a virtuoso, or you're a fabulous public speaker or scientist, and people call you out and recognize your outstanding virtues and compliment you. Well, in a self-deprecating way, you can just wave them off and call yourself Lanyu Chongshu. Nah, I'm just an imposter. So don't forget, you could use it that way as well to express humility or modesty. So, that's it. Nothing fancy today. No need to keep you here any longer than necessary. That's the story of King Xuan of Qi, personal friend of Mengzi, who loved music in more of a quantitative way rather than qualitatively. And his son, who brought down the house in 284 BCE, the wicked King Min, who, because he only enjoyed listening to Yu solos, he brought a quick end to the lazy poser Nan Guo Xiansheng, Mr. Nan Guo, Lanyu Chongshu, to be selected to play the Yu just to make up the number. No one of talent. We all know one, don't we? So, until the next time, that's going to be all I have for you. Lanyu Chongshu. You could say that about yourself, but don't catch anyone else saying it about you. Hey, don't forget, for more than 100 excruciating hours of Chinese history, go check out the Big Brother podcast to this Chinese Sayings podcast. Yes, the venerable old China history podcast. And for lovers of antiquarian books, written by people who went to China during the Qing dynasty and wrote about what they saw, go check out the China Vintage Hour. And this Chinese Sayings podcast, remember, it's also available when you fly Cathay Pacific. Comes complimentary with their in-flight entertainment system. No need to swipe your credit card to listen. Another reason to fly Cathay Pacific. They're thinking about making that the new slogan of the airline. Anyway, take care, everyone. This is Laszlo Montgomery on behalf of everyone at Teacup Media and Joe Wei and all the little people who have to pay taxes over at the Chengyu Yanjiu Zhongxin, wishing you a fond farewell and beseeching you to consider coming back next time for another musical Chengyu here at the Chinese Sayings Podcast.